$10 and I'll put it in. No problem.
Good to see you, Chaim Peretz.
Yes.
How are you?
I'm fine. Teach me how to use
I hope that's some good news to the doctor.
Good news. I'm working on those parasites for the brain for you. Good news, I'm going to see my daughter in tea tomorrow.
Beautiful.
So we go for shabbos.
That's awesome. All right, let's get started.
I'll be close.
So, in the discourse, we learned something which I'm calling the domino effect. There's a relationship between the godly energy in the circumstances that you're in and your reaction to those circumstances, and the method and the approach you need to have for those circumstances that you're in. Good. Two kinds of circumstances that we learned about are bitter and soy. Bitter means that the godly energy that is in the experience is, although it's hidden, it's not like you're living in Gan Eden, but it's not in a way that you're living in a circumstance where all you could see is darkness. With effort, you could see the goodness and the purpose of your situation. In that scenario, in order to unearth and to find and extract the godliness of the experience, since there is some light in the experience, it's not total darkness. There's some you could understand the purpose of the experience. So it's possible for you to scrutinize the details using your heart, using your mind, and to figure out the role of divine providence. I'm trying to find this for a long time. I met someone in Europe who told me two parts of it. There's a part from Baal Shem Tov. Baal Shem Tov says everything's by divine providence. And it's possible for us to learn a lesson from everything we see or hear. So Baal Shem Tov says three conditions in order to be able to know what the role of divine providence is. What is it for? Okay. So Baal Shem Tov said it's through saying a chapter of Tehillim with your whole heart, and doing a favor to someone in a way that takes you beyond your comfort zone. Those are two things that are helpful to being able to see the role of divine providence and to know what the Hashgacha Pratis is. Why does Hashem bring these circumstances to me? The going out of yourself to help someone and davening, asking Hashem to help you know, those two things are very helpful. There's a third thing also that I don't know. I just remember there was three. Anyway, so that's one kind of scenario. Other scenario is that you are total darkness. And the reason you're in total darkness is because the divine spark in the circumstances that you're in is completely hidden. So all that you see is just impossible. And since the divine spark is completely darkened, and the only thing that remains of the divine spark is its core, the way that to approach the circumstance is not by trying to scrutinize the details of the circumstance. The minute you try to scrutinize a situation of total darkness, you're a dead duck in the water. There's nothing to look for. The only thing you could do in that kind of circumstances instead is to look inside yourself, and to say inside and to summon your core. A Jew has a part of himself which is totally devoted to Hashem beyond logic and reason. A bitul atzmi. He's totally he has a sense of abnegation for the will of God, and because of that, a Jew does not want and cannot sever his bond with God. So instead of looking at the circumstances you're in, instead you have to summon your core. And because you are summoning your core, therefore you're able to find the divine spark whose core is still intact. Yes, the light of the divine spark has darkened, but the core is still there. So when you summon your core, you're able to get in touch with the core of the godly spark that is animating your circumstances. That's a domino effect. Where there's a little bit of light, you could use your light to find the light in this circumstance. Where there's total darkness, all there is essence. You have to use your essence to brave through the darkness. That's what you learned. In the last 4 sections of the Maamer, the Rebbe continues on to discuss in detail. Number 1, what does it mean to scrutinize the circumstances that you're in when there is some light there? And what does it mean to summon your core when there is no light there? And how come it's specifically this kind of a challenge where you don't know where to go that Hashem gives us specifically before the coming of Mashiach? Specifically before there's something amazing that's going to happen to you, whether it's the actual coming of Mashiach or another amazing blessing, we find this concept of a unique challenge. So the question is, why is that so? Why before a new revelation is there a hard challenge? What's the connection? So let's go first to discussing the regular kinds of circumstances where we're able to find some light in circumstance. So it says in the Zohar, the time of prayer is a time of war. Although the time that's dedicated to find the godly spark, whatever circumstance you're in, is when you're eating and drinking involved in the physical. That's when you need to look for the godly spark. So why are we talking about the time of prayer? Why is the time of prayer considered the time of war? The battlefield seems to be the time you're eating and drinking and engaged with the physical. However, in order that the physical item that's in your life should not bring you down, but the contrary, that you to elevate the physical and find the godly spark and elevate it, you have to first weaken the opponent, both within yourself, in your body and your animal soul, and you have to also weaken the physicality and corporality of the world. And that is the meaning of davening. Davening is called a time of war. Davening weakens the body and the animal soul. That means by meditating before you pray, and then again while you're praying, about the angels, which are the source of the animal soul. The animal soul's origin is from the angels that carry God's chariot. By thinking about the service of God of the angels, as we do in our prayers, so through this you cause the animal soul and the body to be weakened. And because the body and the animal soul are weakened, automatically that also causes that in your share in the world, meaning what you are meant to do in the world is also, it's not as opaque, it's not as impossible as it was before. And that's the reason why it's forbidden to eat before you pray. And it's forbidden to do business and get involved in your own personal things before you pray, because before you've caused some kind of weakening of the physical, both within yourself and within your part of the world, there's room to be afraid that not only will you not be able to elevate the godly spark that's in the physical world, not only will you not be able to elevate the physical, on the contrary, the physical will bring you down. Only after you've prayed, that's when the Torah says to have breakfast and all the other things which are associated with extracting sparks out of the physical. Because once you've already caused there to be some kind of weakness through your davening, through your prayers, that's the beginning of the war. As the Zohar says, the time of prayer is a time of war. So once you've already fought through the first stage of the battlefield, then you can continue and go to the second stage. As the Zohar says, bread is eaten on the tip of the sword. I don't know this personally, but Rabbi Moshe Levin, he said that you could see that in the earlier years of Rebbe's leadership, when Rebbe would cut the challah, you could see that he was exerting himself, like very hard. It's hard for the Rebbe, so to speak, to cut the challah. He doesn't know what it means spiritually, but it definitely sounds like the Zohar says that bread is eaten on the tip of the sword, that there's a fight to find the godly spark in the physical things. So if the Rebbe is doing that on behalf of us all, and therefore it's hard for the Rebbe to cut the challah, I have no idea. But it's interesting. Anyways, so after you've already davened, because you davened, you've already caused the animal soul in your body to be weak, and not just your body, animal soul. You also caused the world around you for the physicality in the world around you not to be so opaque. So now you're able to get engaged with the physical world, and therefore, when do you engage the physical world? Specifically after davening. Before davening, you're not allowed to eat. You're not allowed to be involved in your business, etc. Except, as we learned many times, except when if you're eating for the sake of davening, if you want to be able to daven better, then you eat. But the time of breakfast, the time when you're supposed to engage the physical world, that's after that. So, what's the method that you are using to engage with the physical world? There is a conversation, there's a discussion, you're scrutinizing, you're thinking, and that's how you're elevating the physical world. You're trying to find the purpose and meaning and goodness of your circumstances. So because the godly sparks in the physical things in your life are to you, they're not in a way that just their core exists, but also there's some light there, there's some holiness there. Therefore, it's possible for you to engage in a conversation where there's thrust and parry, where there's back and forth, until you're able to elevate them. Because the godly spark is not just darkened completely. There's some light there, and therefore, when you meditate and daven with the purpose of the physical and the meaning of Hashem's divine providence and Hashem's care for everyone, and you get into it, so then you're able to go in the physical world. The physical world is a continuation of what you discovered in davening. Davening, you discovered how the Eibishter is Hashem Echad, Hashem is one, nothing besides Him. And now you go in the physical world and you're looking for that. And you could do that. That's when you're dealing with something which is not completely dark. However, when you're in a situation where Hashem is challenging you, since the godly spark and the challenges in a way, I learned last week that the kosher item itself becomes non-kosher, that the spark itself becomes darkened, like the darkness of the three impure klippas, which are not kosher, then it's impossible to approach this with a war and with a back and forth, because there's nothing to grasp onto to begin the war. There's no chink in the armor of the enemy, so to speak. All there is darkness. You're dealing with a non-kosher situation. As I mentioned last week, unlike other non-kosher items, like a horse, let's say, the horse is not completely about darkness. The horse can be used to bring you somewhere that you need to get to. The horse is not, even though the horse is not kosher, you can eat it. The horse has some things in there which are beneficial. You could have a pleasure, you could have benefit from any non-kosher things, although you can't eat them. But a challenge is a circumstance in which all there is darkness. There's not, the whole purpose of the circumstance is completely just about you summoning your essence, about you reaching into yourself and saying, I'm not letting go. So the way to approach the challenge is by inspiring the strength of your core and the devotion to Hashem you have in your very core, that it's impossible to be any other way, and you must overcome this challenge. That's because you have no other road to go on. That's a conversation that you're having in your mind. It can't be any other way. I have to overcome this challenge. There is no other road. And since you're serving Hashem because of the power of your core and devotion to Hashem you have within you, that means you're not serving Hashem with something which stems from the soul, light, revelation, logic, reason. Rather, you're serving Hashem with your very essence. And because you are serving Hashem with your very essence, therefore you're also able to extract the godly spark which is in the challenge, because the godly spark also has its essence. Its essence is still intact. Okay. So basically, that section of the Maimer, which is in section 3 of this discourse, there's no copies left over there. Yeah, last week. I hope people wanted the Maimer yesterday.
I'll listen to this.
Okay. I once had a conversation with my Zelle about Chatchila River, Rabbi Fogelman, and he was saying Chatchila River is a big challenge. And I was like, if you're Chatchila River means you go straight over, and the Rebbe Marash says go straight over the challenge, like that conviction, there's no room for challenge in that kind of perspective. So grandfather says, yeah, that's true. Once you've hit L'Chatchila River, there's no challenge. But to get to L'Chatchila River is a challenge. In a similar way, it says in chassidus that we have 5 parts. Basmachti Yisrael.
Baruch Hashem. Nice to have you back.
Thank you.
I think I find on a personal level that the bar keeps on going up. That you achieve what you think L'Chatchila River is today. That's good for today. Tomorrow you say, wait a minute, didn't I achieve it yesterday? So the bar keeps on going up. Baruch Hashem.
As one Jew said to me, that Hashem testing you means that Hashem thinks you could jump higher than you do.
Yeah.
Hashem be tested. Anyways, but there are 5 parts of the soul. Just like there are 5 parts of the godly soul, there are 5 parts of the animal soul. And the highest part of the godly soul is Yechida. And so too, the highest part of the animal soul is also called Yechida. In general, we learned a few times how the animal soul doesn't really have Yechida. Yechida is a unique kind of bond with something where it's impossible to separate. So this kind of bond the Jew has with Hashem, there isn't a it's not a similar kind of relationship we have with physical things. The 5 kinds of energy of the soul are action, feelings, understanding, desire, and pleasure. That's a loose, rough translation of the 5 parts of the soul. Action, feelings, understanding, desire, and pleasure. So the animal soul also has, Yechida is associated with pleasure. So it says in Tanya that sometimes a person, in order to earn a living, to make a dollar, they could do something which is completely insane, completely crazy, because it cares so much about the physical that they just lose themselves. So there is that kind of crazy attachment, but even that crazy attachment has a limit. The kind of experience of it's 5:02 and you're driving on the 405 and you didn't have mincha yet. Oh, I have to stop and have mincha. That doesn't exist in the animal soul. The animal soul doesn't have anything like that. The other thing, the animal soul that has a kind of connection that a Jew has with Hashem. I need to have a mincha is something that does not exist in the world. And there is no other kind of relationship that exists period in the world that has that. I need to have mincha. Everything has to stop. There could be an addiction. There could be a crazy infatuation. Yeah, but the idea of a bond that everything else is meaningless because of this bond, that only exists in a Jew. You give him a serious nefesh. A Jew gives his life to Hashem. It's giving you a life in a way that you're not thinking about getting Gan Eden. You can't separate yourself from Hashem. You can't bow to another idol, to another God, because you can't separate from Hashem. So that's a different kind of gear. The Yechida, the very core of the soul, the animal soul's Yechida gets transformed. So is there a challenge? There's certainly a challenge. However, when you reveal within yourself your Yechida, the animal soul's Yechida gets swept along with it. If you're talking about logic, the way Hashem created logic is that there's always another perspective. In Parshas Bereshis, Hashem says, man was a bad idea. Man was a failure. This project, man was bad. Let's destroy man. Because man has a bad heart. Parshas Noach, God says, man has a bad heart. I'm never going to do this again to them. I'm never going to destroy man because they do it. They have a bad heart. So the same logic, like God destroys man, is the reason why God says, I'm never going to destroy man. That's how logic works. Logic can always be used in different perspectives. You can always have the same reason to do two opposite things. That's when you're using logic or using feelings. Feelings and logic have always a back and forth, always different perspectives. However, the Yechida, the essence of the neshama, the essence of the soul, means that I cannot separate myself from Hashem. I desire to be close to Hashem. When that's revealed, there's no room for discussion. It's like a child. A child says, I want this, Tati. So you explain to them, well, you're going to get a cavity if you have that. In most cases, the child is not convinced. We'll deal with that later. Child is scared of going to the dentist, but he's not concerned with the candy in the immediate future.
Cavity, yeah.
He wants the candy. So, in a similar way, when we're talking about a revelation of your pleasure and godliness, that you decide that I want the Eibishter, I enjoy the Eibishter, I don't want other things. That feeling, that perspective, transforms all other attractions that are going on, make them meaningless. Let's think of, well, not going too much in a pill pool. Think about a person who has gone, whose life is being challenged, and he has to either accept Christianity or get killed. The guy doesn't have any religious background. He's not into this stuff. But because he's a Jew, he says, I can't do that. I'm Jewish. I shouldn't do that. So after the guy who was holding the knife to his throat, he says, you know what, I changed my mind. You know what? Whatever, I don't care about you. So he leaves. He may celebrate in McDonald's. This Jew doesn't know anything, right? So he may celebrate, we go to McDonald's and have a cheeseburger to celebrate the fact that my life is saved. He may celebrate McDonald's. However, his whole entire being, Rabbi Cashapp says, has been transformed. Because he exhibited this kind of sacrifice to Hashem, there's something that does every fiber of his being is transformed. When Yechida is revealed, the essence of Hashem is revealed, there's no room for anything else to have meaning. So if he will learn about what kosher is, what non-kosher is, it wouldn't be hard for him to make his life kosher and to keep Shabbos and all the other things that other people find challenging. because he's revealed his Yechida. He says Yechida has been revealed, so when Yechida is revealed, all other kinds of attractions are negligible. They don't have anything to say in the presence of Yechida. There's no similar kind of attachment. So that's why it says in chassidus that when you experience a challenge, once Yechida is revealed, there's no challenge. Yechida means that your pleasure is in godliness. You desire Hashem. Why is there a challenge? Challenge is because you have one pleasure, but another pleasure, one desire. But Yechida is the deepest pleasure that you have, that you want the Eibishter. That kind of pleasure, that kind of attachment, makes all in the face of that kind of attachment, everything else is negligible. Does that make sense? No?
It's a famous story for me. I'll tell you later.
Okay.
The McDonald moment.
Yes, it makes sense.
All right. So in Tanya it talks about how a Jew has to have the perspective, everything God does is for the good. And that's not how we feel, right? We feel when the stocks go up, it's Hashem does doing good. When the stocks go down, shalom, we feel like it's not good. But that's only from the perspective of me as a human being. The perspective of Yechid, if my Yechid is revealed, so stocks go up, the stocks go down, it's not important. It doesn't matter. When Yechid is present in your life, in other words, think about the Jews who are at Mount Sinai. And they said every day, by the way, a Jew should do this. Every day a Jew should close the door and sit down and picture the giving of the Torah. And how when the Jewish people got the Torah, all there was the giving of the Torah. All there was, Moshe Levin gave us a new mitzvah. Wow, what's a new mitzvah Moshe Levin gave us? There's now a new mitzvah of tzitzis. Such an excitement that everyone has to, that's what we're supposed to look at our daily life. Think, well, what's important, what's not important. So, in a similar way, once your Yechida is present, there's no challenge. To get your Yechid to be revealed, to reveal that you don't want to separate yourself from Hashem, yes, that's a challenge. But once you've revealed your Yechida, there is no challenge. Once Yechida has been revealed, the animal soul's attractions are they're not a thing. So, the stocks are going down, stocks are going up. If I'm at the level of Yechida, it doesn't matter. Whatever Hashem does is for the good. It's all good. So that's what the Maimer means when it says that when you serve Hashem with your Yechida, there is no challenge because you've reached a point in yourself that you've reached a place in yourself which has equanimity. It's all the same. That you feel that you're at a zone in yourself that it's all equal. We'll stop over here. Any other questions? Okay. Have a great day.
So, 1988, I was at Decatur Island with my kids, swimming with my boat, and I did